are from their ACC.
Yes.
This video is for our taxation task about
Tax administration of the company and the good of service tax.
Yeah, let's enjoy it.
Before we go through to our topic today, we need to know the corporation in Malaysia. There are three types of corporation in Malaysia, which is company, body of person and a Hindu joint family. Company means any body of person that are set up with a separate legal entity by or under law of a territory outside Malaysia. While body of person means an unincorporated body person which is not a company such as cooperative society, a club, an association, a trust unit and also a Hindu joint family by excluding a partnership. And lastly, any system of law prevailing in India are known as Hindu joint family and also known as corporationally. There are three sections to determine the residency of company in Malaysia. The first one is section 8, subsection 1A, which is Hindu joint family is a resident in Malaysia for the year assessment if the manager or karta is resident for that basis year. Karta here means head of family who takes all the decision of financial and economical of family. Next is section 8, subsection 1B. A company or a body of persons that have a business is resident in Malaysia for the year assessment if the management and controls of its affairs are exercised in Malaysia. Lastly, section 8, subsection 1C. Other company or body of person that have a business is resident in Malaysia for the year assessment if management and control of its affairs are exercised in Malaysia and by its director or other controlling authority. Dividend distributed by resident company will be exempt from tax with the implementation of single tier system effective 1 January 2008. However, frank dividend will still be taxable until 31 December 2013. Starting from 1 January 2014, all dividend distributed by resident companies are exempted. Dividend distributed by a non-resident company are not deemed derived from leisure, those will be taxable. Both resident and non-resident companies are able to enjoy tax treaty benefits. However, only resident company able to claim double taxation relief. Resident companies are eligible to claim tax incentive as prescribed under the Act and the Promotion of Investment Act 1986. Non-resident companies are not entitled for any tax incentive. Resident and non-resident company are taxed for 25% for year assessment 2019 and onward on every single ringgit of chargeable income. And lastly, withholding tax provision is not applicable for resident companies but applicable to non-resident companies with the certain receipts such as interest except those exempted and royalties will be taxed 15% and 10% gross respectively according to the Act. Inland Revenue Board required documentation to determine the resident status of the company. First one is Article and Memorandum of Association, Constitution or stipulated under the Company Act 2016. The ascertain where the company is registered and whether or not there are any provision regarding resident in the articles. If the article do give a place of management and control, whether the articles are being implemented, those the company letters are needed. Next, minute of directors meeting that indicated where the meetings were held and what decision relating to management and control were taken. And lastly, a minutes of general meetings that shows where such meetings have been held and what transpired at this meeting.
There are 5 different types of tax return form that are required by company in Malaysia. First one is form C and R. For general company, which is income tax return form. Second is form CI for cooperative society, and the third one is form TC, unit or property trust, and the fourth is form TA, trust bodies, and the last one is form TR, which is for property trust fund. And based on section 77A subsection 1, income tax form return is usually submitted within 7 months after close date of company for the year and account period. Procedure of stress assessment system by company for income tax. First step is company are required to furnish estimate of income tax. Company must submit to Inland Revenue Board not later than 30 days before the beginning of the basis period of year assessment. Second is the estimate of tax payable for a current year furnished by a company should not be less than the estimate of tax to be paid for the immediate preceding 4-year assessment. The second step is must make payment of tax. Payment can make fully payment or also can by installment. They have two methods for payment, which is first one is by post, which is by check or bank draft, and second one is by counter. Taxpayer can directly to IRB counter and pay it. And the last step is file the return form C to IRB. Form C must be complete and submit to IRB within 6 months after close of account period. Type of penalty if company does not apply self-assessment system. First one is penalty on underestimate of income tax payable. Failure to provide estimate by the due date and in accordance with the term set by the IRB, the taxpayer should be fined not less than 200 ringgit to 2000 ringgit or imprisonment for not more than 6 months or both. In addition, if there is more than 30% of the tax payable under the assessment, that the difference over 30% of the tax payable under the assessment is subject to 10% penalty. Second is penalty on late payment of tax installment. If there were an installment payment is not paid by the 10th of month following which is an installment is due, the amount unpaid should be increased by 10% without any notice being served. And the last one is penalty for failure to furnish tax estimate. The company which failed to file in the estimate tax payable will subject to penalty based estimate tax payable, which is first is 500 and above will be penalty compound 300 ringgit, and 501 to 1 million will be compound for 500 ringgit, and the last one is 1 million and 1 and above will be compound 1000 ringgit.
So today, I will explain about the chronology of changes, sales and service tax 1.0, and goods and service tax, and reform back with sales and service tax 2.0 in Malaysia. Before we start, what is good and service tax? Good and service tax is a user who use goods and services at every stage of change to a consumer. While the other hand, sales and service tax is only tax can be charged to the manufacturer only and cannot be claimed by a taxpayer from the government. So this is a quick history that I have been observation. So the first one is SST 1.0 had been introduced in the 1970s. So the second one is sales tax was implemented in 1972, while service tax was implemented in 1975. So the next one is GST was replaced on the April 2015. After 3 years, a new version of SST was introduced in September 2018. Why SST reintroduced in September 2018? This is because SST was replacing by a manifesto by a new Malaysia federal government, which is Pakatan Harapan, was taken over in May 2018 after winning in 14 general election. So this is the chronology event of changes SST to the GST and come back with the SST. So the first one is SST was introduced in 1970 by the Ministry of Finance in Malaysia. So the second one is in April 2015, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Seri Najib Tun Abdul Razak, has been replaced SST system to a new system tax, which is GST system, and also he declared a GST tax holiday on June 2018. Also, SSTX was gazetted on 28 August 2018 and abolish of GST on 31 August 2018. Why? This is because SST was replaced from GST to SST as a part of manifesto of a new government federal, which is Pakatan Harapan, after winning 14 general election. And also the SST was implemented on September 2018 until now.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Do you understand about the history between SST and GST before? So now, let we continue for the differences between SST and GST. Firstly, SST is known as a sales and service tax, what the GST is stand for good and service tax. Like everyone know, SST is a tax where this tax system is imposed on the manufacturing level by the government, while the GST is the tax where it covers to everyone who involved in supply chain, which are manufacturing, from the manufacturing to the trader and to the retailer, and lastly to the consumer. So the government will take the tax from the customer by use the goods and services. In the aspect of the tax rate, SST rate may be vary, which is from the 5% to the 10%, and sometimes it will be to the specific rate. Plus, SST will be include 6% of the service tax that will charge to the consumer that use the service, which is like the hotel service, the domestic flight, and professional accountant like an auditor hired. While for the GST have a standard rate which is 6% with no reduction rate, zero rate supplier, and exemption, such as they will be taxed on the good and service for imported goods to Malaysia. SST is a single stage rate where they will be charged at the single level in the supply chain. This will be imposed at the import or manufacturing stage. But some of the manufacturing activity will be exempt for the SST, which is like the tailoring, jewelry operation, and optician. For the GST, they will be collected by the government of the country through the good and service given to the consumer, and the tax payable can claim the payment of the tax by from the government within a month. Last but not least, SST is less collectible tax for the government, but GST is more collectible tax for the government. So now, do you understand what the differences between the SST and GST? If you don't know how to calculate, if you don't know how the differences amount of the SST and GST apply, I will be explain about that after this. So now, we continue to the diagram about the differences calculation between SST and GST. Let's say the product that will be charged is fast food. As we can see at the GST and SST column, there are the same value of the product price at the manufacturing level, which is RM2 ringgit. From the GST column, the manufacturer will be imposed for 6% tax, which is 12 cent, and the cost of the product will be 2 ringgit and 12 cent. At the part when the product will already to be supplied or to be sold to consumer, the price of the product will be changed due to the tax imposed. For an example, as we can see, on the situation when the government implement GST, the cost of the product is more lower than they use the SST tax system. The cost to the restaurant is RM2 ringgit and 12 cent, and they will be reduced with 12 cent of the tax credit. The total will be back to 2 ringgit. they will be including to the profit gap, which is RM 2 ringgit. At the end, the price of the product will be RM 4 ringgit. From the 4 ringgit, when the customer use the good and service, they will be charged 6% from the price, and they should to pay the cost of the product, which is RM 4 ringgit and 24 cent. Compared to the calculation of SST, the cost of product from manufacturing is RM 2 ringgit and 20 cent. They will be plus with RM 2 ringgit as a profit, where the total amount before 6% service tax is 4 ringgit and 20 cent. When the consumer come and use the service activity, they will be imposed 6% of service tax, where at the end they should to pay the food at RM 4 ringgit and 45 cent. From here you can see there is 2 cent differences between GST and SST. And from this also, GST is more transparently, never cost to the business and business friendly.
That's all from us.
Thank you. Bye. Dia cakap seorang-seorang.